Hello, hello, hello. Happy Sunday. Thank you for being here. Appreciate those of you that show up in any capacity as always. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's go ahead and put the intention up here. If you haven't seen it yet, remember that it's always released a day early, so that way you can take a look at it yourself, see what comes up along with it. I think that I should always encourage you to sit with it yourself and just see what comes up as a little precursor. Even if it's just for a couple minutes beforehand. So here's our intention for this week. I can revitalize. I can revitalize. So let's sit with that for just a moment. Whether or not this is the first time that you have heard the intention, sitting with it just to see what comes up, how it makes you feel, if there's any reactions, anything it makes you think about, any feelings that it invokes, anything that it makes you want to do or not want to do. I can revitalize. We are in between these shifts of March here. We have 2 planets retrograde now. Venus has been retrograde for about a week, and Mercury is stationed over the weekend, is now officially retrograde. So there is reworking, revisiting, and revitalization going on here. So sitting with that for just a moment. So have the intention that comes out early for you to take a peek at, as well as the weekly video that has much more details and has a much more broad description of the entire week. So we go day by day, look at all of the transits, speak much more broadly and somewhat more completely. There's always more that you can say, but there's definitely the video and this meditation are definitely meant to go together. And I like the way that it's starting to flow. This is more the way that I have envisioned this for quite some time and just haven't quite been able to figure out how to put it together. But now it's starting to come together. So you have the intention that comes out, you have the weekly video that just walks through the entire week and is much more of a complete overview. Still trying to keep it kind of short. I try to keep it around 20 minutes if I can, if there's not too much going on. March, that's kind of hard. And then we have the meditation, so you can prepare with the video and contemplate on that, see what comes up with the intention, and then come here for meditation. And then hopefully that sets you up for a really great week of just being prepared and mindful of the energies that are around. You know, here on the meditation, the goal is to lean into the energies. So the intention is crafted around everything that is going on in the sky and ways that we could possibly lean into that, work with it. It's not about controlling things that are fated or destined, because I definitely think that there's a combination, but there is, when there's an awareness of the things that are going on around us and just the symbolism of the potentials that are around, when we can be aware of that and have a conscious conversation and, you know, some sort of relationship with that, then there's a way that which the things that show up that may be a little bit more difficult, there's a flow, or there's a working with that, or an understanding of some kind that kind of comes along with that, as well as being able to tap into those positive energies, or just maybe picking up on things that are around but a little bit more subtle, and just being able to recognize them and notice them and pick them up and then lean into them. So there's an awareness and there's a conscious movement that comes from all of this preparation of just being aware, you know, of what's going on around us, and going from there. So this is the intention from the astrology that we have going on this week. I'm going to just bring the chart up here that we've been using. I've been showing solar fire lately to demonstrate all that we have going on, because we are still within that Pisces and Aries focus that we have been in for a while, and that is where our big focus is this week. So like I mentioned, we now have 2 planets that are retrograde. If you find Aries in this chart, you're going to look to the 7th house. So find the inner ring, and the numbers there represent the houses, and you can find on the right side, the 7th house, you'll find Aries, and you'll see that Venus is 6 degrees and Mercury is at 9 degrees. Mercury just stationed retrograde over the weekend. It's interesting that Mercury stationed at 9 degrees and Venus stationed at 10 degrees. The solar eclipse that we have coming up here shortly is at 9 degrees. So that 9-10 degree area of Aries, and all of the cardinal signs, and maybe some of the other ones too for other aspects, but specifically around that like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 degrees of the cardinal signs. So we have Aries, we have Cancer, we have Libra, and we have Capricorn. Those planets are getting impacted pretty hard. So those of us that have planets and placements around those degrees, you may be noticing this energy popping more than some others. So that's the first thing that we have coming through this week is just Mercury moving into retrograde. So now we have 2 planets that are in this reworking and this revisiting phase. Mercury is going to be retrograde until April 9th. It's going to make its way back to 26 degrees of Pisces. So it's not only going to come into conjunction with the sun and have a Cazimi moment, just like Venus is going to have that resetting moment. That's part of the revitalization that we have here within the intention. So vitality is definitely a solar word. So we have the two retrograde planets, and then if we find the sun in the sign of Pisces here on this chart, Pisces is the sign that comes right before Aries. So if you look down to the 6th house, you'll see that the sun is at 26 Pisces, and it's coming as it moves through those last couple degrees of Pisces. It's going to make a conjunction with the North Node. It's going to make a conjunction with Neptune, and then it's going to ingress into the sign of Aries. That ingress into Aries is our spring equinox that comes through later on this week. So we start out with the retrograde, and we start out with the sun coming into contact with the North Node and with Neptune before it comes into, moves into the sign of Aries. So the sun coming across both the North Node and Neptune, both of these can be very inspiring, very energizing, and it can have us wanting to move forward into some sort of energy. It can have us intoxicated with the energy. It can have us feeling pulled towards the energy. It can have us motivated and ready to do something a little bit different or move forward with wherever the energy is pulling us right now. It's a very intuitive driven area with Neptune being right there, as well as feeling like we are going down on the path. So it may feel to some that we are going towards a path that we just intuitively know is the way that we're supposed to go. Maybe if we don't necessarily even see where the path is going forward. I'm wondering if that's the case for some people with both of these planets being retrograde and switching and kind of revisiting and reworking things. I'm wondering if things might, for some, might be shifting and changing on multiple levels kind of quickly. Then that might feel kind of overwhelming, and it might kind of feel like the future is unclear in a way, or that could be coming for some people. So this could have us feel like we are going the right direction. I'm not really sure what's in front of us. It might be a little bit foggy. It might be a little unclear. That's Neptune, but I'm going down this path, and this is the way that we are going. So there is some motivation that comes through this week. There is a pull towards understanding and wanting to move forward in a very connective and intuitive type way. There could be this inspired energy. There could be this talk of what is the trajectory that I'm on? What is my soul path that I'm on? Does this resonate within me? Does it not resonate within me? That comes through at the beginning of the part of the week pretty quickly, and then the sun is going to ingress into the sign of Aries. That's where it's going to make conjunctions with Venus and with Mercury. So we have the spring equinox that comes through later on this week, Thursday, March 20th. This is that symbolic moment of rebirth. It's the light coming back. So in the sign of Capricorn, we have the place where in the solar story, there is this symbolic rebirth of the light where we come from still within the darkest half of the year, but coming from a place where dark is gaining and dark is coming into is growing in power, growing in strength, and then we come into Capricorn and we come into a place where it's still the middle of winter, it's still the darkest time of the year, but the light is slowly starting to come back. And then partially through Capricorn season, you can start to notice like, oh yeah, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, even if it feels like we are in the, right in the thick of darkness. That has a lot to do with the symbolism of the sign of Capricorn as well. Then you get to the sign of Aries, where the light has slowly been increasing through Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. Now we reach Aries, we reach the spring equinox moment, and now the light is dominant. So now the light is increasing the quickest, and it's taking over. It's coming from the dark half of the year into the light half of the year. So there is a rebirth, there is a returning of the light, whether or not that is happening seasonally where you are. This is a symbolic story that we are talking about, and this is the solar story of the sun and the path and trajectory of the sun through the zodiac. So this brings a little bit of the solar shift from the focus from Pisces to the sign of Aries. However, we are going to have Mercury and Venus retrograde back into Pisces. So that connection between these two houses, or these two signs and the houses that they fall across in your chart are still very, very strong. But there is initiation, there is a restarting, and there is a coming back of the light here as the sun enters the sign of Aries. When it does so, let's pop back over to Solar Fire here. I'm going to go forward a couple days. This is the chart of right now with where I am at. We're going to go forward to Thursday, where the sun moves to 0 degrees of Aries. You'll see that in the 7th house here. Notice that Venus is at 3 degrees of 3 degrees of Aries. So moving quickly into a conjunction with the sun as soon as the sun moves into the sign of Aries. You may notice here that at the same time the sun is ingressing, there is a small sextile happening between Venus in Aries and Pluto in Aquarius. Aquarius is the 5th house here. You'll see the glyph for Pluto next to the number 3 there. This is a helpful moment for Venus of being able to pull in some sort of power. She's able to reach into maybe some sort of darkness or some sort of hidden energy, or investigating something that maybe kind of piques her interest, but she needs to dig a little bit deeper into it. Maybe addressing something that has either been stuffed aside or just hasn't been quite so visible. This is a quick moving aspect, but it could be very helpful in an empowering way for Venus. And I find that it's extra interesting that Venus is coming into this short empowering moment with Pluto just before going through the Cazimi with the sun. The Cazimi comes through on Saturday, I believe. Yep, Saturday at 2 degrees. Sun and Venus conjoin. So this is the resetting moment for Venus. So as the equinox comes through and the sun moves into the sign of Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, the place where the sun comes back into power, and we initiate the light half of the year through the solar story, through the symbolic story that we are following through the zodiac here. That's a resetting moment for the sun. Now we have a resetting moment for Venus coming through here. Shortly after that, we will talk about it next week, but we are going to have Mercury coming into conjunction with the sun. So you'll see that comes through on Monday. We'll talk about that next Sunday. So there is a revitalization that is happening here this week. Both Mercury and Venus are on a path to shifting, to changing, to starting a new cycle. When they come into contact with the sun, there is a empowering moment and a resetting. There is a phasal change. So Venus is going to move phasal positions. So she's going to move from the evening star phase into the morning star phase. That brings a different feel to the energy. It brings a more youthful, starting, initiating energy, where now she is in the evening star phase, where things are a little bit more, maybe a little bit more mature through experiences, and has kind of just been through some more things and has seen and experienced more things. There's a history to the cycle. Now she's going to come into contact with the sun, and she's going to have this resetting moment that comes through. And just after the resetting moment of the sun, you know, lots of people, there's lots of traditions around the world, and lots of different places and people that look at 0 Aries as the new year starting point with the spring equinox, and other celebrations and holidays that are celebrated right around the same time. So there is a rebirth that happens naturally this time of year. However, we astrologically have other rebirths that are happening through the personal planets. You know, Mars just went through its own retrograde, Venus is retrograde, and Mercury is retrograde, coming into contact with the sun. So all 3 personal planets are or have just recently went through a process of shifting, changing, revisiting, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work. So I think our intention this week of I Can Revitalize is reaching into this energy of where we are going, where we are shifting to. We are in the sign of Aries. It's a sovereign sign. It's a sign of individuality and starting things, initiating things, going out and blazing a path, you know, acting before thinking sometimes. So it could be that we are in a process, some people at least are in a process of reclaiming power, reclaiming focus, seeing what works, what doesn't work, and going from there. And it's going to be on the other side of this, you know, not to mention that we're in the middle of eclipse season as well. So we had an eclipse Thursday night into Friday, the lunar eclipse. Hopefully some of you were able to see that blood moon. I went outside with my kids and my husband and saw it quickly in the middle of the night. And so we have eclipse season, we have the equinox, we have retrogrades, we have planetary ingresses by, you know, the beginning of April. Neptune is going to be in the sign of Aries as well. So we have all of these shifts that we've been talking about for a while. They're here, they're imminent, they're looming, they're right there. They're really, really close. So I think this is a week where we can find some power, and we can find some re-energizing, revitalizing, all of those empowering things, and seeking. It feels like there's a process of reclaiming and seeking for the light, seeking movement, and maybe moving with some sort of faith with the Aries and Pisces aspect houses highlighted here. So those are the aspects that we have this week. It can be, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to this week myself. I often use the spring equinox as a spring cleaning time. So I've kind of already started that process. I live in Michigan in the Northern Hemisphere. So, you know, like spring is actually coming back here. And I just love this time of the year. And then all of these extra shifts just feel like springtime is going to feel like an extra breath of fresh air at some point. It's going to be a little bit before we get to that point where it's like things are kind of settling down, but it's exciting, it's energizing, and it feels like revitalize is a good word to use because of the solar qualities, the vitality, that life force, that drive, that energy that is within us is being revamped and is being given some possibilities and opportunities here. So that is what I have as far as the astrology goes this week. Like I said, fun, interesting things that I am looking forward to, the resetting moments here that we have. You know, if you, yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. So that's the astrology that we have for this week. I'm gonna leave the intention up here, and then we have the cards that showed up, and we ended up with a full 3-card spread. So that was not my intention. It's never my intention to bring more than one. First 2 cards that popped up at the exact same time. Which one's first there? Okay. So both these 2 cards popped up at the same time, the Devil and the Ten of Wands. And when I say they popped out, they popped out really quick and really fast. I didn't realize there was 2 cards. The first one that I saw was the Devil card, and then the Ten of Wands was behind it. And I was like, oh, okay. We're just gonna up the intensity there of the Devil card, aren't we? So those are the 2 cards that came out. And when these 2 cards come together, the energy feels so heavy. It feels like there has been a weight, there has been a struggle, whether that is good possibility it's internally with the Devil card showing up here. But there is burden, there is baggage, and there is things that just need to change. I say that because when there's a burden and a struggle, things shouldn't be like overly burdensome. Like, yes, there's things that require hard work, and you know, we have things that are a bit trying. But the Ten of Wands is about carrying a weight. It's about being burdened. It's about being overworked. It's about holding something kind of close and tight. And the Devil card is a shadow that is showing up. It's something that is not. It's not an ideal combination. So at some point, the levee's going to break. And at some point, you know, you can only carry things for so long. So that's where, when I see these 2 cards coming up with everything going on, it's like, okay, this is partially what the retrograde is here. This is illustrating the retrograde motion here in the sign of Aries, being like, okay, enough is enough. Aries is a straightforward sign. So when these 2 planets turn direction there, it's not the retrograde motion isn't wishy-washy because it's systematic and it's functional, right? And it follows a pattern. But it's like when Aries decides it's going to change or do something or not do something, it's going to stick with that. It's just going to go with that. So it feels like with these 2 cards in the retrograde that there's a point of like I'm done with whatever I'm done with, or I'm done, you know, going down this path or this trajectory, or, you know, whatever the thing is that has been overwhelming, or the baggage, whatever the Devil and Ten of Wands is that is showing up for you. It's like there's many people that are probably thinking, like, I just can't do this anymore. And if you haven't gotten to that point yet, then, you know, like, if there's a burden that's heavy and you need to put it down, then you need to put it down, okay? And you need to find a way to let the thing go. So those 2 cards popped up, and like I said, it's just a really, really heavy energy, and it feels like this is the precursor to the retrograde here. So like, you know, Venus was going direct motion and then decided that she needed to revisit something in the sign of Aries and Pisces. She had Mercury move past her. They went through a conjunction, and then it's like Mercury was kind of like, yeah, you're right. Well, this isn't quite right. We need to rework this. Like, we can't keep going forward with this. So then it went back together. So our mind, our thoughts, our perceptions, and our desires, what fills us up, what brings us balance and harmony, our relationships and the way we can communicate within those, the way the tools and the resources that are available help us, the way that maybe they don't, the way we help others, the way others help us. All of these back and forth things, when you have Venus and Mercury activated, then you have a combination of things that help us and tools that aid us, and you have the places where we're looking to like manage our happiness is the words that's coming to me here. So what do you need to do to manage your happiness here and stand up for your own self in some way? And that brings us to the 3rd card that came out. When I saw these 2 cards, I felt like I needed to ask a follow-up card. So I was looking for like, how do we get through this heaviness? How do we resolve? Where do we go from here? And what showed up was the Emperor card. This feels very Aries to me, because it's telling us that we need to stand strong, we need to stand for ourselves, we need to be our own authority, and we need to be somewhat independent, and maybe even go alone and do something ourselves. Maybe it's that we have been relying on others and we need to move forward on our own, you know, or however else it's playing out for you. So heavy energy that's there. these two cards coming up together are telling me that there's a lot of people that have some really, really heavy energy that have been following them. Maybe it's old habits that you're trying to get away from. Maybe you're trying to go down a new path, and then it's like really easy just to be sucked back into whatever the thing is. But standing strong with this masculine energy that is within all of us here is what's coming through as the way forward. So I always say to be mindful and to, you know, not to go too far with anything, right? But we do need to be able to stand on our own 2 feet and care for ourselves, like the sign of Aries does. And the short little sextile that Venus comes through later on this week may help with that some. So, see how this all resonates with you, and we will take that into our meditation. I'm going to take a little deep breath here. I'm going to sit with that intention for another second on the screen there while I do so. Okay, I'm going to move the intention off of the screen. And we have our intentional candle here, as always. So not a whole lot on the table today. The candle holder that I've been using recently is a selenite cube chime candle holder. So that has been on here. I brought these 2 selenite towers. So I have 3 white selenite pieces and a white candle on here. These 2 pieces representing Mercury and Venus. We have Mercury Hermes here, and we have Mother Mary with baby Jesus here, so we have a representation of Venus and Venusian energy here as well. Anyways, these 2 selenite towers representing Mercury and Venus, and the resetting and purification process that those 2 planets are going through right now. So selenite is clearing. It doesn't hold on to energy. You can actually clear other crystals with selenite. And there is a process of being symbolically burnt up and reborn for these 2 planets as they're going through their cazimi here in the next little while. Thinking about like the phoenix that bursts into flames, especially in the sign of Aries, and then is reborn from the ashes. So purification was a word that came through when I was thinking about what to put on the table tonight, and then I saw these 2 selenite towers, and then I heard, you know, purification is what came through with that. Yeah, so it's simple, but it's there's a statement that is behind what is on the table here today. So we have our white intentional candle as always, white sage oil. So there is much cleansing and removal of negative energy within everything that we have going on here, and this resetting moment. And I think that removal of negative energy and like the letting go of that which no longer serves us, like you know, the devil card doesn't have to necessarily be some big bad wolf. It can be, right? Like it could be a really, really big thing that is hindering us. It can also be the sugar in the candy bar that you eat that you shouldn't be eating or something like that, you know. Not that I care, well, you know, really, you know, yeah. But it can be anything that holds us back. So it can be a mindset thing. It can be, you know, a physical object thing. It can be a person. It can be an idea. It can be a mindset. It can be anything that, that limits us or holds us back in some sort of way. So that's what I have here with those, and we will move into our meditation. I'm going to light the intentional candle, and as I do so, I'm going to recite the intentional phrase. As I recite the intentional phrase, I encourage you to go ahead and say it with me in whatever capacity that you are able to. Once again, our intention is, I can revitalize. I can revitalize. Okay, so I'm going to light the intentional candle. Flame ignites. And as the flame ignites, it begins to grow. As the flame grows, so does our intention. I can revitalize. I can revitalize. Sun coming into contact with the North Node and Neptune before finishing the last little stint in Pisces, pulling us intuitively, creatively, and emotionally connected towards wherever we are going right now. Feeling that we are on the right path, trusting our gut instincts, trusting that we are divinely guided, however that translates for you, and that you are on the right path, even if you can't see exactly what is in front of you. So, if you haven't already, I invite you to go ahead and find a nice, comfortable seated position and close your eyes. If you're not quite ready to close your eyes, that's okay. Perhaps you can slowly and gently soften your gaze and relax your eyes. Maybe you can find a point somewhere in front of you to look towards, but just kind of gazing towards or beyond, not staring so intently at, letting the details fall away till eventually you are ready to close your eyes. As we settle into a place of stillness, sometimes it's easy to just drop right in. Sometimes our mind likes to wander. Sometimes the busyness of the day is still hanging on. Sometimes we're able to instantly relax and feel connected with our breath, and maybe even something higher than that. Whatever end of the spectrum you fall on right now, I invite you to take just a moment to check in with your breath. As we come into a place of checking in with our breath, I encourage you to notice your breath, acknowledge your breath, and honor your breath by not attempting to change anything of the sequence of the breath at this moment. Here, I invite you to, for just a moment, sit with your breath as it is, without changing or altering, and just honor your breath, wherever it falls on the spectrum. Here, you are meeting yourself exactly where you are at the beginning of this meditation. Every moment, every day, every week, every month, every year, and every experience of your life has led you up to this moment. And every single one of those moments has played into the fluctuating quality of your breath at this time. When you honor where your breath is, you honor the experiences that you've been through. And once we've taken a moment to sit with and check in with our breath, now, ever so slowly, we begin to deepen the breath. Here, as you deepen the breath, starting with your next inhale, I encourage you to have your only goal be to have that inhale be slightly longer, slightly deeper, and bring in slightly more air than the inhale that came before it. Slow and steady, you draw the breath in, filling up to the top, noticing the changes that happen within your body as you do so. Maybe once you get to the top of the inhale, you pause for just a moment, sitting with that breath and that energy that has just came into your being before slowly releasing it. Here, as you continue to deepen the breath, allow your goal for the exhale to be that exhale releases slightly more air and slightly more energy than the exhale that came before it. Once you get to the bottom of the breath, perhaps you sit there in the moment of emptiness, the moment of release and surrender, before moving into the next inhale. Again, your only goal is to have the breath and the inhale be slightly longer and bring in slightly more air than the one before it. Same with the exhale. Each breath bringing in more air and releasing more air than the one before it. Continue this deepening of the breath at your own pace. Each time you breathe in and breathe out, you are not only moving air and oxygen from your lungs into the environment around you, and from the environment around you back into your lungs. There is a conversation that you are having with yourself and with the universe. There is an energetic exchange that revitalizes our energy source within. At the beginning of each round of breath, we go through our own resetting moment. Restarting a cycle, restarting a phase, shifting from the inhale to the exhale. This week, Sun goes through a resetting moment. Venus goes through a resetting moment. Shortly thereafter, Mercury will as well. The Sun makes her way through the last few degrees of Pisces, feeling intuitively inspired and connected, hopeful, dreaming of the path and the trajectory that we are on, our progress, reflecting on where we've been, where we're going. And then 0 Aries, the moment that restarts the zodiac. The first point that tethers our Western tropical zodiac, begins the zodiacal wheel, tethering the zodiac, the 4 cardinal corners. The light returns in strength, rebirth is near. Growth can be seen. A new life will emerge. Where is your growth? Where is your shift? What do you see changing within and without? As the planets shift and reset, as they go through this empowering moment of Cazimi, connecting with the sun, resetting and rebirthing, we too have a moment where we can shift, where we can see a different perspective, we can change our mind. We can set down that heavy, heavy burden that has been looming on us. And we can move forward with bravery, courage, confidence, and faith in the unknown. This is a powerful time on many levels between the Virgo lunar eclipse and the Aries solar eclipse. Beginning one eclipse cycle, ending another. There's another shift we're between. What what pops into your head when we contemplate these shifts, these changes, these perspective shifts. The sun is strong this week. The sun is always strong, but the sun is in the spotlight this week. That solar energy, our will, our vitality, that which illuminates us, that which fulfills us, those driving forces behind us, purpose, power, strength, beautiful, brilliant light. Feel that light shining down on you as you connect to its energy. Feel the warmth, feel the heat, see the light around you. Sun shining down on you, just as it will Venus in that empowering moment in contact. Not only does it warm your skin and illuminate the path in front of you, but it holds you in a way that makes you feel secure and comfortable. Perhaps there's little feelings or messages that come with the rays of the sun that are shining down on you. Or perhaps you just feel this deep connection within. As you feel those sun rays on you, you say to yourself, our intention for the week: I can revitalize. I can revitalize. That which has been lost or that I have been seeking for, I will find. As we sit in silence, feeling the magical connection of the sun's rays coming down on us, re-energizing and revitalizing us. Bask in that energy. Notice what you notice. Any thoughts, feelings, messages, words. Notice how you feel at this moment. Any details can be personally significant to yourself. Trusting this connection that comes through the breath. Trusting our own being, as well as the creator of all energy. Before we close this meditation, I bring my hands together in prayer, bringing them to the heart center. I encourage you to join me if it feels right. As we bring our palms together, fingertips touching, marrying the left and the right sides of our body. Your left hand receives energy, feminine side, and the right hand, which delivers energy, the masculine side. Marrying the two together, creating a circuit pathway for energy to move from your heart space, down your arm, through your hand and your fingers, into the other hand, back up your arm, back to your heart space. Feel that connection. Feel it pumping within you with every heartbeat that happens within your body. Reawakening this connection of energy within your being. Re-energizing, reconnecting, revitalizing. With my hands still in prayer, I invite you to take a nice deep breath in with me to end this meditation. Together, we breathe in the deepest inhale we've taken in all day, feeling not only that beautiful universal energy entering us, but as well as those solar rays that are glistening over top of you, coming within to your being. Deep breath in together. And release. One more because it feels so good. Breathing in. And release. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope that you always get something good from this meditation, but I hope that you find them especially useful during these active, astrologically active times. Wow, that was really good. So thank you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for sharing your energy, and thank you for being within this space with me. I hope this week you find ways to revitalize on your path. I hope you find ways to things that light you up and make you feel inspired, and happy equinox. Happy spring, happy Aries, happy birthday to all of you Aries suns as the sun ingresses into your sun sign. Venus goes through her resetting moment on Saturday, so almost a week from now. And leading up to that, there's that moment of Venus and Pluto, and it's can be powerful, it can be empowering, it can be illuminating, it can show us something. It can be illuminating in the way that it's showing us something that has been hidden. So whatever comes forth to you this week, I hope that you just have the best week that you possibly can. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I will see you next Sunday, and next Saturday, look for the weekly intention as well as the weekly astrological outlook. If you have not seen the video for this week, you can go to Meditative Astrology YouTube channel and you will find the video there. I encourage you to use the video as well as this meditation together in tandem as companions for each other, and just see what kind of magic blooms from the connections that you make here, and the conversations that you have. You know, when we come back to this place of meditation, you know, if we do it each week, or, you know, just as we're able to or whatnot, or we have some sort of process, even if it's not necessarily utilizing the tools that I'm bringing here for you, if we have some sort of process of connecting with that divine energy and having a conscious awareness and a conversation with the universe, then things can seem magical. They can seem like they work for us. There can just be an understanding of the situations and the events, and just just an understanding that comes through. So that is what I am hoping to just be, you know, cultivating within myself, as well as avenues for you all to cultivate within you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Melissa, Nikita, I see you guys in the comments. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you both very, very much. So I hope everybody has a wonderful week, and I will see you all next week. So bye, everybody. Have a great week.